Howdy, of you delicious people. I am here today to play more of 7 Days to Die. Lately, I've kind of been very behind on getting some recordings done, so kind of commentating over. I've kind of played a lot of this. It's just kind of getting that whole commentary portion under my belt. Yeah, we're going to get into another episode of this. This is, of course, an episode where we're going to spend most of this time really right next to this hospital and ultimately, yeah, things are gonna go horribly awry. I think within this episode. Definitely gonna be checking that out to see without a doubt why there's so many issues going on with this. Yeah, eventually, I just realized that it looks like Tubi had kind of updated a lot of their apps or a lot of their movies within their apps. I'm like, great. So I'm probably gonna be doing probably within today. I'm probably gonna go out of my way to do me talking about a lot more film, a lot more movies, a lot more this or that. Because yeah, there's a lot of different movies that are within that. But I'm kind of curious if this was like previously recorded or something like that, because I think I did some of this stuff, but I'm not quite 100% sure. Um. Anyways, so I'm going to eventually come back into reviewing movies, which I'm sure a lot of people are either more interested in hearing or just want to hear more of. But it just all depends on how much time I'm going to take to get all those done, and there might just be like a one-off review per every day until I can kind of deplete what I kind of want to see. But yeah, as far as like an overall haul on, I'm sure what people would call like, hey, when are we gonna get that big old kind of a certain adult kind of review that we kind of been getting frequently? Um, I'm very unsure of when that will be. If you guys have been wanting some kind of certain kind of selling review of a certain kind of thing, that is going to take a very arduous process to try to get back into. But I know a lot of people could easily say it's like, no, it should actually be easy, but it's not. Um, but yeah, so I'm going to get into going back into watching movies quite frequently lately, and I hope that while I do that, I can find some specific movies that I can not only show people, just like, yeah, these were actually really good, but then like there's something like realistically really different that will really interest people. I know there was another person today that I think while I was kind of talking about like either Star Wars or maybe just one of my reviews, just I guess eventually just kind of interest somebody. Probably a like-minded channel that probably has like-minded stuff like I do, and there's a lot of times where I would honestly say I don't positively review a lot of things in a positive way, but ultimately when looking back on it, it's just like, well, but I always try to be honest about a movie. Like I think I've seen too many films, and I think that really does detour my honest opinion, because ultimately I can take any movie that is put in front of me and give you five better ones. To be brutally honest, no matter how unique you think the movie is, I can probably tell you five movies that are probably better than that movie that you mention, unless it's that movie is absolutely just one of a kind. There is no way to go around it and just say, yeah, well, there's 17 other movies that are just like this, but Because there are movies that are one of a kind, but I can kind of tell you a better movie of better quality than the one you probably just mentioned to me or whatever. But yeah, because again, like looking at it, there's movies all over the world. I have three different apps that I look through to see if there's two to three other different apps besides just a Netflix or a Hulu or whatever to look and watch movies on. So, and I ultimately don't get to Hulu that often, or Disney Plus or DC Universe or any of those other HBO Max or anything like that. I don't like. I barely watch Hulu and all that other newer app stuff. I honestly don't have like. I honestly don't do because I don't have the affordability to be able to go through all that stuff. But ultimately, I think the only thing that I'd really want to watch in DC Universe is either the Harley Quinn cartoon because everybody talks like leaps and bounds about that. But other than that, it's just people realistically have said that probably Titans is probably the best thing coming out of DC Universe, or Swamp Thing, which was a short-lived show that got the boot. Um, but yeah, I hope that hopefully whatever I pick is kind of interesting to a lot of people. Because a lot of these titles aren't going to be something that is immediately going to, people are going to look at and immediately say, I absolutely need to know what this movie is. Because ultimately, to be brutally honest, a lot of these films are going to be stuff you've probably never heard of in your life. You're like, what is this film? Like, what is this film about? But kind of reading the description or reading like who's in this film, I was like, you know what? I'll just kind of give it a roll of the dice and see if this is a very nice film. Ultimately, I could probably tell people what they are, so eventually they can watch them beforehand. But man, that would also kind of also be alluding to the fact that like, what if I go into these movies and I say, yeah, I really want to watch this movie. I really, yeah, and then I go into this movie and it's a garbage movie that I do not actually see. Like I'm just like, yeah, I thought this was gonna be something great, and I looked at it and I'm like, oh my god, this is awful. Like this is unwatchable because there's a lot of times when you tend to roll the dice on, especially 2B, the app that I've seen so much stuff on. There's some times where you're looking into this movie and I'm like, man, this movie looks good, but then all of a sudden you realize that it's like a very super like homemade film, and then you're just like, oh man, I was so pumped about watching this film, but then I found out that it's some very much like homemade-ish kind of skewed thing where like the production of it is so like hilariously poor that there's no justifiable way that I would ever decide to want to watch this thing. It's just there's no way. So yeah, even if I were to mention like, yeah, these are the next six films I'm watching, there's no guarantee that I'm going to watch those and review all those because some of them might honestly be bad. So I think that's kind of why I'd probably lead a lot of stuff to mystery, just because I'm very not quite sure about the quality of film I'm going to be content with watching or not content watching because I don't have the attention span as much as I used to. Um, I like watching a lot of shorts TV shows. I like watching a lot of shows that are vastly different. Has to be vastly different. It just can't be. It just cannot be just some normal run of the mill like show that you've seen 18 times where it's like six people live in an apartment complex together and what hijinks are they gonna get into? It's like, oh my god, I've seen this too many goddamn times. Like the New Girl, I'm sure people love that kind of show, and you know what, I'm sure I could enjoy something like that. I've seen episodes of The New Girl every once in a while, but it's so boring. Because there's not enough stuff going on in that show to just go through and just like, yeah, I really liked it, or I really want to just see more of it, or because I've seen a couple of episodes in like some kind of marathon fashion, and I was like, yeah, I just like, I don't know how I feel about this show. Like, I kind of just feel like it's something to watch if it's on, but I just don't have a strong belief system that I absolutely need to go out of my way to watch certain things. But yeah, another episode of 7 Days to Die, as I'm talking much more about movies than gameplay. But yeah, a lot of these kind of looting kind of things are just like there's not much to say. It's like, oh yeah, I have water, or I have beer, or I have 6 things of this item. Um, but there's not a lot of times where there's a lot of impressing things. Um, the reason why I had stopped this footage is because there was an airdrop. So I had to forcibly, yeah, you can see there, airdrop. So that's why I kind of had to stop the footage the way I did to run out to get that. So yeah, some interesting things in this airdrop, but so it's gonna be some interesting stuff as per usual. But yeah, that's what sucks about you looting, and then you're just like, oh yeah, now I have to get an airdrop, and then you have to like drop a bunch of your stuff that you already have to get these unique things that you won't be able to get all the time here. Um, yeah, some more a sledgehammer schematic, which I should actually make a sledgehammer. I think I gotta make some iron or something like that. Mini bikes for dummies, which I've already read that. Yeah. I think I wanted to go back for that flashlight though, because that was a much more powerful flashlight. Yep. Um, but yeah, reasonably, I eventually want to definitely forge iron on a more consistent basis. But I think a lot of the times now I have been realistically, once I find a place that I want to like hang my hat, I've really been mostly just kind of um, crafting things to make my home much more defensible during the night. Because at nighttime, the zombies tend to run a lot more. And as you can see here, dogs coming. The basically unstoppable dogs. Um, yeah, when you get dogs coming on down, yeah, you basically get effed, which is great. Yeah, here we go. That's what happens when you want to get some health, but then you don't realize how close or far away these dogs are. So in this episode, you're probably gonna see me die quite frequently again within this episode. Hence why I tended to adjust. And here is another interesting scene here coming out of the way because I ran and I ran and I didn't realize there was a section here where there was mines. So exploded again. But I come back for my bag. But then I also have to figure out where the F. Um, Luckily, I kept, as you can see, there's some mines off to the right side of me. Some mines, so I was like, oh, okay, I guess I'll be more cautious around here because I just kind of kept running and running and running. And when you're running, you don't realize where you actually are. So you make a lot of mistakes when you're just running and running and running, and then you don't realize that there's booby traps being placed somewhere, or you're just like, oh yeah, I feel I can just run through this entire thing and be fine. Yeah, not so much. So most of this episode, most of this video is probably just going to mostly be me. Honestly, because of how many effing dogs they are, there are in this hospital. It's mostly going to be an entire episode of me just getting my already bagged items, because a bulk of the time I had continued to die because there was a number of dogs that kept appearing by this hospital. Hence why I said several times over that I'm like, yeah, I need to adjust the settings because this is redonkulous. And it's not even nighttime, and like I'm just having an endless amount of just dogs or some other thing coming at me. Um, yeah, go away. And then yeah, that heart there, I'm bleeding out. I'm bleeding out, and I just barely got away from all the zombies. But then when I go and like, oh yeah, I can put health on me. Yeah, I die. So just an entire episode continuously of me just dying and just getting a backpack. So that's why, Darren, fact, this episode right here is me saying that I this is the reason why I lowered the spawn rate of zombies, because this is ridiculous. I've died so frequently here. It's redonkulous because I've like there was a stupid mistake on me be it previously, and that was a dumb mistake. But there's way too many freaking zombies here. There's way too many, and then there's dogs that appear just endlessly. So yeah, here we go again. Another dog. Just die, and die some more. Luckily, I didn't lose every single thing in my backpacks because I dare in fact had like I think by the end of this I had 3 to 4 backpacks in this area. I couldn't find one of them, and I just kind of gave up. I know after a certain amount of time in gameplay, the backpacks tend to unspawn. So recently, if you're thinking, well, what if it's nighttime? I would suggest going and getting said backpack. Here's another dog for me to have to kill. Just or try to get killed by. Share we go. Another backpack. Um, just an entire episode of realistically getting backpacks. Just here we go for the 80th attempt. Just trying, like, I think around here I was trying to find my other backpack that I lost around here, and I just could have never found it. I was like, I have another backpack around here somewhere. Where is it? But the later it gotten, I was like, I can't figure out where this backpack is, and I think I didn't really lose much. I think I just lost like a weapon, and that weapon wasn't really significant. So I was just like, F it. Like eventually, I'm gonna get more substantial stuff in the future. So it's like it gets to the point where you just like, God, I've died so frequently that I just don't care anymore. Look how many freaking zombies are just hit by this hospital. I think after this excursion, I never come by this area again to loot anything. Yeah, there we go. Another dog. It's the dogs that never end. They just go on, trying to frickin' kill me. And yeah, I've never seen so many dogs spawn in one area in my life. I've never seen so many dogs spawn in one area. And here's just me, like at night, just completely giving up at this point and just going, yeah, how about I just go and, just hunker down now that I got all my bags? Which I think I ultimately just kind of missed one backpack, but that's just because I just completely gave up on trying to find it because it got so late. And I was just like, you know what? Like, I'm probably going to die if I stay out here with 10 different zombies and this and that. And a lot of this stuff that's in this area, besides this hospital, there isn't much to really care about farming for to go and get. Like, reasonably, I can go um, to other places and get much more beneficial stuff. In the future, you guys are going to see some interesting areas that I'm going to be farming through that I've probably never farmed before in any of the other playthroughs. So, um, if I probably had farmed to this hospital in previous episodes, in the future, that is going to be honestly very much different. But yeah, through this episode, I really sucked a big fatty in this in this episode. I didn't really make much of any progress, and we're nearing pretty dang close to day 7 of 7 days to die, and I've died probably a number of times by now. Probably if you have a death counter going, I think I've probably died about 10 times probably by now. And we're on the 5th day. Um, oh yeah, here's where I went, and I decided to, I found this area, this underground bunker area, and see what happens here. Yeah, a bear. a bear. A bear appears out of nowhere to try to F and kill me. And yeah, it is honestly super hard to try to take down a bear, especially within close range. That's why I'm running like the devil away from this said bear. Because you honestly need to have like a very much like high groundish like area to take down this bear, to shoot down at him. And it takes a lot of resources to be able to get said bear. So that was a great little like neat nifty little thing where yeah, I was freaking just trying to go into this underground area, and here's a sledgehammer here that I just get, which honestly, sledgehammers are freaking awesome, but that sledgehammer doesn't last forever, sadly enough. But yeah, so I go into underground bunker and I arrive upon a bear of all things, which is kind of the worst thing that you could honestly get. Another airdrop. Let's see what it drops down. Yeah, another airdrop for the day. Mostly just probably another mini bikes for dummies books. Eventually, I'll probably sell these things to the trader. But I think the two other things were med kit schematics. So eventually, if I wanted to make more med kits, I can, and I kind of know how to make those. It's been a while, but I know how to make those. But also shotgun shells if I ever really decided to make actually those things. I know I've kind of more recently got much more books to be able to put guns together. The only problem is getting gun parts or gun pieces. There's several gun parts or pieces that take longer than others to find. Especially, it takes a long time to get really much of anything as far as weapons goes. I think through this playthrough, I've gotten pistols a lot faster and more frequently than I probably have ever before. Um, and I've actually kind of much more used them, much more than I ever have. Because normally I would go and I would use like a crossbow or something else. Yeah, evidently I was chasing this pig, and this pig just was just here, stuck against this rock. So sadly, I need to kind of take down this pig for its resources, because it has meat, it has animal hide, it has a lot of stuff that you tend to need quite frequently. Um, the only problem is when you have meat on you, tends to attract a lot of the zombies, but it's a really good thing to cook to ultimately get some pretty good health. Reasonably around about the time that you're gonna see me probably do this almost like an hour long special that I have kind of planned for one of these episodes, because I couldn't figure out where to edit down to 30 minutes, so I just kind of made a very long video. So because it's gonna be like a special video, and there's a reason why for that. But I'm gonna get some meat, some good meat, because there's a lot of stuff that just kind of got stuck where the section where I was at. So I got some pretty good meat going. So that was great, and I was able to cook some of that as well because I had the resources to make a campfire. But yeah, so yeah, we're gonna be doing some pretty good health eventually. Maybe not now because we died so effing frequently. It's a problem with this game is, man, if you die, if you have one problem with one section, you're gonna live in misery because it's like, well, I need to go. I died here, and I need to go and get my backpack back, but I just don't want to go back in there. But you have to. Eventually, I start to get some of this corn. Eventually, you're probably going to see in later episodes that I start farming some of this corn right in front of my own home because I just want to just start farming corn in front of my own house because I just kind of get lazy towards it's like I don't want to go to this farm every single time to get corn, so I'll just kind of I'll get corn seeds and then I'll just kind of go and plant them in front of my own home, aka where I'm going to be fairly mentioning that I'm going to be plopping down soon. Probably in this episode, we'll showcase that. Again, I've been in this spot previously before, but you're going to see more of different ways that I go about protecting myself. And it'll be much more beneficial. I went down that road and there was only a gas station there. I'm like, yeah, I don't care about going into a gas station because I think going into the gas station will lead me to go into the winter section, which I think I do stumble upon there. And I'm just like, oh my god, I'm going to get out of this because the winter section, I just don't feel I'm ready for that yet. Still, even though I'm at pretty good resources and stuff like that, I think I want to get my health up to about, unless I absolutely have to go into the winter section, because there was an airdrop where I had to go into the winter section. But other than that, I'm going to try to avoid that as much as possible. Just because I feel my health has to be really good to even think about going into that section. Just because of how difficult it is, how there are good resources there, but dare say you pretty much have to tiptoe your way through that section. It's very dangerous. And the later on that people will see playthroughs, if I keep going along, people are still interested in what I'm doing here. Because ultimately the series will die probably at some point, but because yeah, there's only so many times people will watch kind of a slow playthrough, or I don't know why sometimes like these episodes tend to look very grainy. It's weird because it's at 720, but I don't know. YouTube videos tend to do whatever they want as far as quality goes. But yeah. Yeah, this episode is probably gonna showcase. Even though I've played this so frequently, it's not going to make me look good. But I ultimately, at the end of the day, it's like, meh, like, oh well. Yeah, I want this section, this place here. I want this place, so I'm gonna have to put up with getting rid of these zombies to get this place and not have to worry about. Because I have a plan. I won't have that plan right away, but I surefire will have it. And it's gonna be great. It's like thinking about it now on just how like masterful plan that I came up with. I'm like, man, this is so like smart and intelligent and whatever. and in the later episodes, you're gonna see hopefully what I'm talking about. In the later episodes, but the plan, just delicious. Um, what you guys doing? Getting a little, whoa, having a little bedroom business right out in the forest here. All right, just have at it. I'll watch. I don't mind. All right, just go ham. Know what I'm saying? Yeah, I don't know what this glitch is. Whatever this glitch is, where it's like, where ultimately zombies just like, if they get stuck somewhere, they just continue to be stuck. Um, but yeah, so you're gonna see here that a one-armed zombie is just gonna be a very unique specimen in my I guess evident avenue, I guess. Yeah, I got stunned. I got stunned and he killed me. It's okay, I come back. I come back with vengeance. But yeah, I think that is where we. I think this where this. Yeah, that's where this video ends. So yeah, a lot of deaths in this episode, but ultimately, deaths that absolutely had to be showcased for a reason. Because yeah, really showcasing, really poignantly saying that either one, I really suck at this game. At this point, at this juncture, eventually I will get better. I promise you, because ultimately, if I've played so many different episodes of this game, admittedly, I have to get better. But then ultimately, I do get a lot of resources that I don't always use, but eventually will use more often because I already know about them. But yeah, so this was a episode of me basically dying a lot. But ultimately I come back to this location, I fortify it, and I make it through to the seventh day, and then that gets pretty interesting. Um yeah. To the point where eventually I do want to hope that I can I'm gonna start collecting a lot of wood in the future. I'm still like every day like, god, I just need more wood, I need more resources. Like ultimately by within um 2 weeks or 3 weeks or something like that, like I usually start to get an abundance of certain materials. There's certain stuff where like wood and stone and stuff like that becomes way easier, and then it gets to the point where I just have like tons and tons of just storage chests just full of like resources. So eventually it's going to get to that point, but ultimately within like the first like week to 2 weeks, it goes very effing slow. To where you gotta know how to use, like, put your best foot forward, but ultimately a lot of the times you're grinding away because it's just kind of like, god, I wasn't expecting 8 zombies to show up within this building, or I wasn't expecting 8 zombies to all show, and 4 dogs to show up right next to this hospital, because I'm so used to um, having this many show up. Or like there was so many unexpected things going on through this gameplay. So anyways, I'm gonna get out of here. Goodbye everybody. Goodbye everybody.